This is a tutorial on how to get the best marks on the explain how question, the 12-mark question on paper 3, modern debt study, which for us is Weimar and Nazi Germany. This question also appears on paper 1 on the medicine paper, so you can use the same skills, the same strategies that I give you in this tutorial on that paper and that question as well. So what does the question look like? Well, the question might ask something along the lines of explain why, in this case, the German economy recovered in the years 1924 to 1929. You may use the following in your answer. So you can see that the exam board have given you 2 bullet points there. But to get the very best marks, you must also include more information of your own. So you must also include 1 other bullet point. That means you're going to be writing 3 paragraphs. What the examiners are looking for here is 2 things. First of all, for assessment objective 1, this is your knowledge. They're checking how much you know about this period in question. And assessment objective 2, this is the second order concepts of causation. How well can you explain why something happened? And you can see that in this question, you get 6 marks for each of those. So it's not just all about the knowledge, it is about how well you can explain that knowledge as well. So let's look at what you need to do to get the very best marks. So to get 10 to 12 out of 12, on assessment objective 1, so that's the knowledge, your knowledge in the blue box here needs to be accurate and relevant and precisely selected. This means that you don't wander off the question and you don't write everything you know. You choose the very best knowledge about this time period to answer this question. You can see that it says no access to level 4, so you cannot get between 10 and 12 marks if you don't use another point that isn't mentioned already in the question. So you have to add another bullet point of your own. For assessment objective 2, so the causation, for this you need an analytical explanation where you, throughout your answer, sustain the idea and the arguments that you're putting forward about why something happened. A very clear line of reasoning throughout your answer, and you don't go off the point. So let's have a look at how we might answer this question. It's useful to think of point, example, explain and link for each of your paragraphs if you want to get the very best marks and getting 10 out of 12 on this answer. So I'm going to show you how you might write your paragraph about Gustav Stresemann in this question here. One reason why the German economy recovered was because of the actions taken by Gustav Stresemann. That's my point in blue. Then got to give an example about that. Stresemann was foreign minister in Germany 1924 to 1929. He stabilised the German economy initially by introducing a new currency called the Rentenmark and ending the crisis in the Ruhr by sending the workers back to work. Okay, that's quite good, but to get the very best marks we need to then explain this a bit further and then really clearly link it to the question. So we can see my explanation here, so this is getting up onto the AO2, the assessment objective 2 about explanation. This ended the chaotic period of hyperinflation and made the German currency worth something again. People were able to buy goods with money and be paid properly. I'm then going to link it to the question to get the very best marks. This encouraged German citizens to have confidence in the economy and start buying goods and services again, therefore improving the overall economy. However, even though the economy had improved, some people continued to blame the Weimar government for the year of misery they had experienced during hyperinflation. So I've linked it to the question and even managed to say how actually not everybody was happy with the government, even though the economy had recovered. So that's how we might answer that first bullet point about Gustav Stresemann. The second bullet point is about the Dawes Plan. So I'm going to do the same thing again, start with my point. A second reason why the German economy recovered was because of the Dawes Plan. I'm going to give an example. This is in red. This was a plan arranged by Stresemann which ended the occupation of the Ruhr and allowed for Germany to start paying reparations again. Okay, so now we're getting into the higher marks where we're going to explain it and link it to the question. This plan was for Germany to loan 800 million marks from the USA. Germany then began to pay back what it owed and a repayment schedule was agreed. As a result, French and Belgian troops left the Ruhr and the striking workers went back to work. It's always useful to use phrases such as a result. I'm then going to link it back to the question. Stresemann used some of this money from the Dawes Plan to build factories, houses, schools and roads. This meant more jobs, which therefore helped the German economy to recover. Germany gradually became more wealthy. However, some Germans feared that Germany relied too heavily on US loans. So again, for them very best marks, we're linking it to the question, but we'll put in why actually, even though there was economic recovery, some people in Germany were still unhappy. Now, you then need to do a third bullet point of your own, but using the same strategy that I've just given you of point, example, explain, and link. And you might want to try this on your own. Pause the video and write a paragraph about the growth of German industry, improved trade with other countries, and modern technology techniques, which meant that factories were more productive, making more goods and helping the economy. The information you need to help you with this is on page 9 of the Germany revision guides that you've been given in class. So pause the video and have a go at writing your own paragraph there. Okay, so final points on this question. And things that could go wrong, well, you need to make sure that you have 3 paragraphs. If you don't have 3 paragraphs and 3 separate points that you're making, you can't get the very best marks. You need to make sure you write about a point which is not already given to you in the question. Otherwise, even if your answer is really good, you can only get 8 marks. And you make sure that each paragraph follows this pattern: the point, your example, and then for the assessment objective 2, your explanation and your really clear link back to the question.